then cross the left one. Now, what you then do, so just like if you were doing this in front of your body, if you were doing an underhand weave, you would cross your right one, you'd cross your left one, and then you'd bring your right hand back and underneath your left one. Back and then you just keep taking the hand that's on top and move it back and underneath. Now it's the same thing behind your back. It's that you cross the first one, which is the hand that's on top, and you cross this one, which is underneath, and it doesn't seem like it because of how you're looking at it here, but if you think about it in relationship to gravity, your right hand is on top of your left hand. Then you take your top hand, or in this case, think about it as the hand closer to the spine. You bring it home, cross it over. Bring it home, cross it over. Take the other hand home, cross it over. Take the other hand home, cross it over. Take the other hand home, cross it over. So if you were to do it more at speed, it would be right cross, then the left one stays here while the right one comes back and over, then the left one, then the right one, then the left one. And the whole time, while the hand is crossing, the other hand stays crossed. So while the one hand comes home to cross, the other hand stays here doing a beat, right? So if I do it as slow as I can, it'll be right, left, then right goes back and over, left goes back and over, right goes back and over, left goes back and over, right? When people start, what they often try and do is do these big motions. See how I'm moving my hand way in front of my hip? Don't. When I'm really putting this move together, my hands are low and tight, low and tight, behind my ass the whole time. I never pass in front of the hip. So you want to keep your hands behind your ass the whole time. It is not an uncommon problem for people to be struggling with the poi, holding the poi on the opposite side of the body. And it's very common in the beginning where people either, when they're trying to rotate the hip forward, they push their hip out like that instead of this, right? That's very common. Or they don't get the poi deep enough. So it's like that, right? That's not, like, I can't even, you should be able to see the poi over the shoulder. So when it's crossing, which means, and I call that getting into the slot deep enough. So you gotta slip it in there far enough that you can see the poi. If you can't see the poi, then it's not in the right place. Now, the thing that's important about doing this rotator drill is, I think this is pretty normal for people. You hold your hand here. This is probably even relatively normal, but it's the transition from this to that smoothly. Being able to go from here and shoosh, smoothly rotate the hand and feel that change in momentum. Because here, the momentum feels down in front of me, but as I turn, I'm changing the momentum to down in front of me on the bottom of the turn, as opposed to over the top of the turn. And feeling the difference in that momentum is huge. So you start with it overhand, and then you rotate. So put the poi in front of you, like this. Yes, okay. So it's as if you started here, right? But down at your side, not out here, down at your side. And now rotate 180 degrees to your right. Yes, that. I'm gonna keep going so that your hip is perpendicular to the plane of the poi as much as possible. So you start here on the side, and then you turn. And then you turn back. And if you lose it, turn back to the comfortable one. If you're facing this way when you start, you should be facing this way at the end. And if it's an overhand facing this way, it will be an underhand facing this way. If you have the physiology to pull the hip up, that works. I find, because I got such a big booty, I find that rotating the hip like this so that I can slip the poi behind helps. But, you know, whatever works for your physiology.